everyone. So I'm going to continue reading where we left off in our last video. I Am Number 4 by Pittacus Lore is the book that we're reading. We will be starting on chapter 21 today. So I have a question for everyone. I was reading my comments and I got a really interesting comment from Monkey Pen, who said that maybe I should try making my videos all 30 minutes. That's a very interesting notion. It's something I'm contemplating. I'm thinking about it, rolling it over. So please let me know in the comments below if you would like for my videos to be 30 minutes long or to stay where they're at, or, let me know what your thoughts are. If I don't get any comments in about a week from everybody, then I'll probably up them to 30 minutes per Monkey Pen's request. So let me know what you think, and without further ado, here we go. Chapter 21. Everything slows. I see a second person at the top of the stairs. Sam yelps in surprise, and I turn to him, silence filling my ears with the discordant hum that comes with slow motion. The man behind him gives him a hard shove that causes his feet to leave the ground, and when he hits, it will be at the bottom of the stairs, where the concrete floor awaits. I watch him sail through the air, flailing his arms with a look of terror on his anguished face. Without giving it a single thought, my instinct takes over, and I lift my hands at the very last second and catch him, his head a mere 2 inches above the basement floor. I set him down gently. "Shit," Henri says. Sam sits up and crawls backwards like a crab until he reaches the cinder block wall. His eyes are wide open, staring at the steps, his mouth moving but no words coming out. The figure who pushed him stands at the top of the stairs trying to figure out, like Sam, what just happened. It must be the third one. "Sam, I tried to," I say. The man at the top of the stairs turns and tries to sprint away, but I force him down 2 of the stairs. Sam looks at the man being held by an unseen force, then looks at my one arm extended towards him. He is shocked and speechless. I grab the duct tape and lift the man in the air and carry him up to the second floor, keeping him suspended the entire way. He yells obscenities while I tape him into a chair, but I hear none of them because my mind is racing to figure out what we will say to Sam about what just happened. "Shut up," I say. He unloads another string of cuss words. I decide I've had enough, so I tape his mouth shut and walk back to the basement. Henri is standing near Sam, who was still sitting there, with the same blank stare on his face. "I don't get it," he says. "What just happened?" Henri and I look at each other. I shrug. "Tell me what's happening," Sam says, his voice pleading with us, tinged with desperation to know the truth, to know that he's not crazy and that he didn't imagine what he just saw. Henri sighs and shakes his head. Then he says, "What the hell's the point?" "The point in what?" I ask. He ignores me, and instead turns to Sam. He purses his lips together, looks at the man slumped in the chair to make sure he's still out, and then at Sam. "We aren't who you think we are," he says, and pauses. Sam stays silent, staring at Henri. I can't read his face, and I have no idea what Henri's about to tell him. If he will again make up some elaborate story, or for once tell him the truth. And it's this latter that I'm truly hoping for. He looks at me, and I nod my head in agreement. "We came to Earth 10 years ago from a planet named Lorien. We came because it was destroyed by the inhabitants of another planet named Mogador. They destroyed Lorien for its resources because they had turned their own planet into a cesspool of decay. We came here to hide until we could return to Lorien, which we will one day do. But we were followed by the Mogadorians. They are here hunting us, and I believe they are here to take over Earth, and that is why I came here today, to find out a little more." Sam says nothing. Had it been me who'd been told this much, I'm sure that he wouldn't believe me, that he might become angry. But it's Henri who has told him, and there's a certain integrity within Henri that I have always felt, and I have no doubt that Sam feels it also. He looks over at me. "I was right? You're an alien? You weren't joking when you admitted it?" Sam says to me. "Yes, you were right." He looks back at Henri. "And those stories you told me on Halloween?" "No, those were just that," Henri says. "Ridiculous stories that made me smile when I stumbled across them on the internet. Nothing more. But what I told you now is the honest truth. Well, Sam says and trails off, grasping for words. What happened just now? Henry nods to me. John is in the process of developing certain powers. Telekinesis is one of them. When you were pushed, John saved you. Sam still smiles beside me, watching me. When I look at him, he nods his head. I knew you were different, he says. Needless to say, Henry says to Sam, you're going to have to be quiet about this. Then he looks over at me. We need information and we need to get out of here. They're probably nearby. The guys upstairs might still be conscious. Let's go talk to them. Henry walks over and picks the gun up from the floor and pulls the clip. It's full. He removes all the bullets and sets them on a nearby shelf, then snaps the clip back in place and tucks the gun in the waistband of his jeans. I help Sam to his feet and we all go upstairs to the second floor. The man I brought up with my telekinesis is still struggling. The other one is sitting still. Henry walks over to him. You were warned, Henry says. The man nods. Now, you're going to talk, Henry says, and he pulls the tape from the man's mouth. And if you don't, he pulls the slide back on the gun and aims it at the man's chest. Who visited you? There were 3 of them, he says. Well, there are 3 of us. Who cares? Keep talking. They told me if you showed up and I said anything, they'd kill me, the man says. I won't tell you anything more. Henry presses the barrel of the gun against the man's forehead. For some reason, it makes me uncomfortable. I reach out and move the gun down so it points only at the floor. Henry looks at me curiously. There are other ways, I say. Henry shrugs and sets the gun down. The floor is yours, he says. I stand 5 feet in front of the man. He looks at me with fear. He's heavy, but after catching Sam as he sailed through the air, I know that I can lift him. I hold my arms out, my body straining in concentration. Nothing at first, and then very slowly he begins to rise off the floor. The man struggles, but he's taped to the chair, and there's nothing he can do. I concentrate with everything I have, and yet in my peripheral vision I can see that Henry is smiling proudly, and that Sam is too. Yesterday, I couldn't lift a tennis ball. Now I'm lifting a chair with a 200-pound man sitting in it. How quickly the legacy has developed. When I have raised him to face level, I flip the chair over and he hangs upside down. Come on, he yells. Start talking. No, he yells. They said they'd kill me. I let go of the chair and it falls. The man screams, but I catch it before it hits the ground. I raise him back up. There were 3 of them, he yells, talking fast. They showed up the same day we went out. We sent out the magazines. They showed up that night. What did they look like? Henry asks. Like ghosts. They were pale, almost like albinos. They wore sunglasses, but when we wouldn't talk, one of them took the sunglasses off. They had black eyes and pointy teeth, but they didn't look natural like an animal's would. Theirs looked as though they'd been broken and chiseled. They all wore long coats and hats, like some shit out of an old spy movie. What the hell more do you want? Why did they come? They wanted to know our source for the story. We told them. A man had called, said he had an exclusive for us, started raging about a group of aliens that wanted to destroy our civilization. But he called on the day we were printing, so instead of writing the full story, we put in a small quip and said more to follow next month. He talked so fast that we hardly grasped what he was saying. We were planning on calling him the next night, only that didn't happen, because the Mogadorians showed up instead. How did you know they were Mogadorians? What the hell else could they have been? We wrote a story about the Mogadorian race of aliens, and lo and behold, a group of aliens shows up on our doorstep the same day, wanting to know where we got the story. It wasn't hard to figure out. The man is heavy, and I'm having trouble holding him. My forehead is beaded with sweat, and it's a struggle to breathe. I flip him back over, begin to lower him. When he's within a foot of the floor, I drop him the rest of the way, and he lands with an oomph. I bend over with my hands on my knees to catch my breath. What the hell, man? I'm answering your questions, he says. I'm sorry, I say. You're too heavy. And that's the only time they came, says Henry. The man shakes his head. They came back. Why? To make sure we didn't print anything else. I don't think they trusted us, but the man who called us never answered his phone again, so we had nothing else to print. What happened to him? What do you think happened? The man asks. Henry nods. So they knew where he lived. They had the phone number we were supposed to call him back on. I'm sure they could have figured it out. Did they threaten you? Hell yes. They trashed our office. They screwed with my mind. I haven't been the same since. What'd they do to your mind? He closes his eyes and takes another deep breath. They didn't even look real, he says. I mean, here are these 3 men standing in front of us talking in deep, raspy voices, all in trench coats and hats and sunglasses, even though it was nighttime. It looked like they were dressed up for Halloween or something. They looked funny and out of place, so at first I laughed at them, he says, his voice trailing off. But the second I laughed, I knew I'd made a mistake. The other 2 Mogadorians started towards me with their sunglasses off. I tried to look away, but I couldn't. Those eyes. I had to look, as though something was pulling me in there. It was like seeing death, my own death, and the deaths of all the people I know and love. Things weren't so funny anymore. Not only did I have to witness the deaths, but I could feel them too. The uncertainty, the pain, the complete and utter terror. I wasn't in that room anymore, and then came things I've always feared as a kid. Images of stuffed animals that came to life with sharp teeth as mouths, razor blades for claws, the usual stuff all kids are afraid of, werewolves, demonic clowns, giant spiders. I viewed them all through the eyes of a child, and they absolutely terrified me. And every time one of those things bit into me, I could feel its teeth rip the flesh from my body. I could feel the blood pour from the wounds. I couldn't stop screaming. Did you try to fight back at all? They had 2 of these little weasel-looking things, fat, with short legs, no bigger than a dog. They were frothing at the mouth. One of the men was holding them on a leash, but you could tell they were hungry for us. They said they would turn them loose if we resisted. I'm telling you, man, these things weren't from Earth. If they were dogs, big deal. We would have fought back, but I think those things would have eaten us whole despite our size, and they were pulling against the leash, growling, trying to get to us. So you talked? Yes. When did they come back? The night before the next magazine went out, a little over a week ago. Henri gives me a concerned look. Only 1 week ago, the Mogadorians were within 100 miles of where we live. They could still be here somewhere, maybe monitoring the paper. Perhaps that is why Henri has felt their presence of late. Sam stands beside me, taking everything in. Why didn't they just kill you like they did your source? How the hell do I know? Maybe because we publish a respectable paper? How did the man who called know about the Mogadorians? He said he had captured one of them and tortured it. Where? I don't know. His phone number was from the area code near Columbus, so north of here, maybe 60 or 80 miles north. You spoke to him? Yeah, and I wasn't sure if he was crazy or not, but we had heard rumors about something like this before. He started talking about them, wanting to wipe out civilization as we know it, and sometimes he talked so fast that it was hard to make sense of anything, he said. One thing he kept repeating was that they were here hunting something or somebody. Then he started spouting numbers. My eyes opened wide. What numbers? What did they mean? I have no idea. Like I said, he was talking so fast that it was all we could do to write it all down. You wrote while he talked? Henri says. Of course we did. We're journalists, he says incredulously. Do you think we make up the stories we write? Yeah, I do, says Henri. Do you still have the notes that you wrote? I say. He looks at me and nods. I'm telling you, they're worthless. Most of what I wrote are scribbles on their plan to destroy the human race. I need to see them. I nearly bellow. Where? Where are they? He motions towards a desk against one of the walls. On the desk, on sticky notes. I walk over to the desk, which is covered with papers, and start looking through the sticky notes. I find some very vague notes on the Mogadorians' hope to conquer Earth. Nothing concrete, no plans or details, just a few indistinct words. Overpopulation, Earth's resources, biological warfare, the planet Mogador. I come to the note I'm looking for. I read it carefully 3 or 4 times. Planet Lorien, ? The Loric, ? 1 through 3, dead. 4, ? 7, trailed in Spain. 9, on the run in SA. What is he talking about? ? What do these numbers have to do with invading Earth? ? Why is there a question mark after the number 4? I ask. Because he said something about it, but he talked too fast and I didn't get it. You gotta be kidding me. He shakes his head. I sigh. Just my luck, I think. The one thing said about me is the one thing that wasn't written. What does SA mean? I ask. South America. Did he say where in South America? No. I nod, stare at the slip of paper. I wish I could have heard the conversation, that I could have asked my own questions. Do the Mogadorians really know where 7 is? Are they following him or her? If so, the Lord charm still holds. I fold the sticky notes and slip them into my back pocket. Do you know what the numbers mean? I ask. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you know what the numbers mean? He asks. I shake my head. I have no idea. I don't believe you, he says. Shut up, Sam says and pokes him in the gut with the heavy end of a bat. Is there anything else you can tell me? I ask. He thinks about it for a moment, then says, I think bright lights bothers them. It seemed to cause them pain when they took their sunglasses off. We hear a noise downstairs, like someone trying to slowly open the door. We look at each other. I look to the man in the chair. Who's that? I quietly say. Them. What? They said they'd be watching, that they knew someone might be coming. We hear quiet footsteps on the first floor. Henri and Sam look at each other, both terrified. Why didn't you tell us? They said they'd kill me and my family. I run to the window, look out the back. We're on the second floor. It's a 20-foot drop to the ground. There's a fence around the yard. 8 feet of wood slats. I move quickly back to the stairs and peer down. I see 3 huge figures in long black trench coats, black hats, and sunglasses. They're carrying long, gleaming swords. There's no way we're going to make it down the stairs. My legacies are growing stronger, but they aren't strong enough to take on 3 Mogadorians. The only way out is through one of the windows or over a small porch at the front of the room. The windows are smaller, but the backyard will allow us to escape unseen. If we go out the front, we will most likely be visible. I hear a noise coming from the basement and the Mogadorians talking to each other in an ugly, guttural language. 2 of them move towards the basement while the third starts walking towards the stairs that leads to us. I have a second or 2 to act. The windows will break if we go through them. Our only chance is the doors leading to the second floor porch. I open them using telekinesis. It's black outside. I hear footsteps coming up the stairs. I pull Sam and Henri over to me, and I throw each of them over my shoulders like sacks of potatoes. What are you doing? Whispers Henri. I have no idea, I say, but I hope it works. Just as I see the top of the first Mogadorian's hat, I sprint towards the doors, and right before the ledge of the porch, I jump. We go flying into the night sky. For 2 or 3 seconds, we're floating. I see cars moving down the street beneath us. I see people on the sidewalk. I don't know where we're going to land or if my body will support all the weight I'm carrying when we do. When we hit the roof of a house across the street, I collapse with Sam and Henri on top of me. I get my breath knocked out of me, and it feels like my legs are broken. Sam starts to stand, but Henri keeps him down. He drags me to the far end of the roof and asks if I can use my telekinesis to get him and Sam onto the ground. I can, and I do. He tells me I need to jump. I stand on legs that are wobbly and still hurt, and just before I jump, I turn and see the 3 Mogadorians are standing on the porch across the street, looking confused. Their swords are gleaming. Without a second to spare, we got away without them seeing us. We get to Sam's truck. Henri and Sam have to help me walk. Bernie is there waiting for us. We decide to leave Henry's truck because they most likely know what it looks like and would track it. We pull out of Athens, and Henri starts driving back to Paradise, which it really might be after the night we just had. Henri starts from the beginning, telling Sam everything. He doesn't stop until we're pulling into our driveway. It's still dark. Sam looks over at me. Unbelievable, he says and smiles. It's the coolest thing I've ever heard. I look at him and I see the validation he has always looked for in his life, an affirmation that the time he spent with his nose in the conspiracy rags, looking for clues to his father's disappearance, wasn't in vain. Are you really resistant to fire? He asks. Yes, I say. God, that's awesome. Thanks, Sam. Can you fly? He asks. At first I think he's joking, but then I see that he isn't. I can't fly. I'm resistant to fire and can turn my hands into lights. I have telekinesis, which I only learned to use yesterday. More legacies are supposed to come soon. We think so, anyhow. But I have no idea what they will be until they actually develop. I hope you learn to make yourself invisible, Sam says. My grandfather could, and anything he touched also became invisible. Seriously? Yes. He starts laughing. I still can't believe you 2 drove all the way to Athens by yourselves. Oops, wrong voice. But Henri says, you guys are really something. When we stopped for gas, I saw that the plates have been expired for 4 years. I really don't see how you made it without getting stopped. Well, you can count on me from now on, says Sam. I'll do whatever it takes to help stop them, especially because I bet they're the ones who took my dad." "Thanks, Sam," says Henry. "The most important thing you could do is stay quiet." "The most important thing you could do is stay quiet with our secret. If anyone else finds out about this, it could lead to our deaths." "Don't worry. I'll never tell anyone. I don't want John using his powers on me." We laugh and thank Sam again, and he pulls away. Henry and I go inside. Even though I slept on the drive back, I'm still exhausted. I lie down on the couch. Henry sits in a chair across from me. "Sam won't say anything," I say. He doesn't respond, just stares at the floor. They don't know they don't know we're here," I say. He looks up at me. "They don't," I say. "If they knew, they'd be following us now." He stays silent. I can't take it. "I'm not leaving Ohio on nothing more than speculation." Henry stands. "I'm happy that you've made a friend, and I think Sarah's great, but we can't stay. I'm going to start packing," he says. "No." "When we're packed, I'll go into town and buy a new truck. We need to get out of here. They might not have followed us, but they know how close they were to catching us, and that we might still be nearby. I believe the man who called the magazine did in fact capture one of them. That was his story. Then that he captured one and tortured it until it talked, and then he killed it. We don't know what kind of tracking technology they have, but I don't think it will take them long to find us, and when they do, we'll die. Your legacies are emerging, and your strength is growing, but you're nowhere near ready to fight them." He walks out of the room. I sit up. I don't want to leave. I have a real friend for the first time in my life, a friend who knows what I am and isn't scared, doesn't think I'm a freak. A friend who's willing to fight with me and go into danger with me. And I have a girlfriend, someone who wants to be with me without knowing who I am, someone who makes me happy, someone I would fight for or go into danger in order to protect. My legacies haven't all emerged yet, but enough of them have. I took down 3 grown men. They didn't stand a chance. It was like fighting with little kids. I could do anything I wanted to them. We also know now that the humans can also fight and capture and hurt and kill Mogadorians. If they can, then I definitely can. I don't want to leave. I have a friend and I have a girlfriend. I'm not going to leave. Henry walks back out of his room. He's carrying the Lorien chest that is our most prized possession. "Henry," I say. "Yes." "We're not leaving." "Yes, we are." "You can if you want, but I'll go live with Sam. I'm not leaving." "This is not your decision to make." "It's not? I thought I was the one being hunted. I thought I was the one in danger. You could walk away right now and the Mogadorians would never look for you. You could live a nice, long, normal life. You could do whatever you want. I can't. They will always be after me. They will always be trying to find me and kill me. I'm 15 years old. I'm not a kid anymore. It's my decision to make." He stares at me for a minute. "That was a good speech, but it doesn't change anything. Pack your stuff. We're leaving." I raise my hand and point it at him and lift him off the ground. He's so shocked that he doesn't say anything. I stand and move him into the corner of the room, up near the ceiling. "We're staying," I say. "Put me down, John." "I'll put you down when you agree to stay." "It's too dangerous." "We don't know that. They're not in paradise. They might not have any idea where we are." "Put me down." "Not until you agree to stay. Put me down!" I don't say anything back. I just hold him there. He struggles, tries to push off the wall and the ceiling, but he can't move. My power holds him in place, and I feel strong doing it, stronger than I've ever felt in my life. I am not leaving. I am not running. I love my life in paradise. I love having a real friend, and I love my girlfriend. I'm ready to fight for what I love, be it with the Mogadorians or be it with Henry. "You know you're not coming down until I bring you down. You're acting like a child." "No. I'm acting like someone who's starting to realize who he is and what he can do." "And you're really going to keep me up here?" "Until I fall asleep or get tired, but I'll do just that again. I'll do it again once I get some rest." "Fine. We can stay, with certain conditions." "What?" "Put me down and we'll talk about it." I lower him, set him on the floor. He hugs me. I'm surprised. I expected him to be pissed. He lets go of me and we sit down on the couch. "I'm proud of how far you've come. I've spent many years waiting and preparing for these things to happen, for your legacies to arrive. You know my entire life is devoted to keeping you safe and making you strong. I would never forgive myself if something happened to you. If you died on my watch, I'm not sure how I would go on. In time, the Mogadorians will catch up with us. I want to be ready for them when they come. I don't think you are yet, even though you do. You have a long way to go. We can stay here for now. If you agree that training comes first, before Sarah, before Sam, before everything, and at the first sign that they're nearby or on our trail, we leave. No questions asked. No fighting about it, no levitating me up to the ceiling and holding me there. Deal, I say, and smile. Alrighty, so that is the end of chapter 21. We will pick back up on chapter 22 in the next video. Let me know in the comments below if you thought that chapter was amazing, because I did. It is so great. And let me know your thoughts on if you want my videos to be 30 minutes, a little less. This one was a little longer because the chapter was longer, so regardless, it's going to have to be a little longer. And also, my recording camera died in the middle, so you might see a little hiccup in the middle where I might have repeated a sentence or something, but hey, no big. Thank you for enjoying. Thanks for continuing to watch and support me and my channel and my passion. I love all of you guys, and I can't wait to read more to you in the next video. And sorry for all the mistakes I make. I know that I don't really address them very much, but I know I've addressed them in the past about how I'm not like a professional reader and stuff. So, thanks again. Alright, that's Reading by Ree. Bye!